because due to the interest of time, you know. Jeremiah chapter 2 verse 22. It says, For though thou wash thee with nitre. What do you got here for nitre? What does it say here? Nathar. It says natron, nitrate soda, carbonated soda, which nitrate is something that you can find in see, it says right here, it says which when mixed with oil was used even now for soap, and that's true. You even see nitrate is in them, baking soda. It's in your soap powders. I meant to say it's in your soap powders. It's in the different detergent that you use to wash things. So it says, For though thou wash thee with nitrate and take thee much soap, yet thy iniquity is marked before me, saith the Lord power. So even though you wash yourself with nitrate and you use much soap, your iniquity is still marked before the Lord. But why is your iniquity still marked? Because you physically cleanse yourself with nitrate. You physically cleanse yourself with soap and with water. But yet still your iniquity is still marked before the Lord. Because you can't wash away iniquity physically with soap and water. But iniquity can be washed away with the washing of water by the word, as we read in the book of Ephesians 5 and 26, and as we also read in the book of Psalms 119 and 9, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way by taking heed to the word. So your way is cleansed. Your way is cleansed by the washing of water by the word. Let me get that one more time. Your way is cleansed by the washing of water by the word, not through the washing of your physical flesh. See Psalm 119 and 9, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way by taking heed thereto according to that word. So now let's go back to John, the next verse. I'm going to go to John 13th chapter. It says, verse 6, that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the spirit is spirit. Right, that which is born of the flesh is flesh. So when you're physically born, that's being born of the flesh, being born physically. And that which is born of the flesh is flesh, meaning that which is born of the physical is physical. So you can't go back right in your mother's womb again. You can be born again in that way. That's a physical birth. So that which is born of the flesh is flesh. That which is born physically is physical. That's what he means. And that which is born of the spirit is spirit. So it's two different types of births. One being born of the flesh and one being born of the spirit. We were all born of the flesh physically. We came out of our mother's womb. But then there's another type of birth, which is being born of the spirit. So it's two different kinds of births. A physical birth and a spiritual birth. Let's go to the book of John, verse 7. Marvel not, meaning don't be amazed that I said unto thee, you must be born again. So don't be amazed by it, Nicodemus. Don't be amazed. I'm not talking about being physically being born again. I'm talking about being spiritually born again. Let's go to the book of John, the 13th chapter. And John 13 and 1. Now before the Passover, when Yahushua knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, having loved his own, which were in the world, he loved them unto the end. To my other disciples. And supper being ended, the devil having now put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, to betray Yahushua, the Lord called Jesus Christ. Yahushua, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he was come from the Most High, and went to the Most High, he riseth from supper, and laid aside his garments, and took a towel, and girded himself. And when he had poured water into a basin, and began to wash the disciples' feet, he wiped them with a towel wherewith he was girded. So, he laid aside his garments, meaning his outer garments, and took a towel and girded himself. So he had outer garments on, and obviously he had on undergarments. He wasn't walking around butt naked. Okay? And after he poured the water into a basin, he began to wash the disciples' feet and wipe them with the towel where he was girded. So he took off his outer garments, and he had a towel wrapped around him. And he started to wash the disciples' feet. Okay? Then cometh he to Simon Peter, and Peter saith unto him, Lord, dost thou wash my feet? Yahushua answered and said unto him, What I do thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. Peter saith unto him, Thou shalt never wash my feet. Yahushua answered, If I wash you not, thou hast no part with me. So he told Peter, when Peter said, Lord, dost thou wash thy feet? Yahushua told him, You know it not now, but you're going to know hereafter. Peter didn't understand. And Peter said, Thou shalt never wash my feet, because Yahushua was above Peter in rank. Okay? The only person above Yahushua is the Most High himself, Yahweh. So he said, Thou shalt never wash my feet. He didn't want the Lord to do it, because the Lord was above him. He thought that the Lord was above having to wash his feet. And Yahushua answered him, If I wash thee not, thou hast no part with me. So Yahushua said, If I don't wash your feet, you don't got no part with me. Simon Peter saith unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. So don't just wash my feet, wash my hands as well as my head, Lord. Yahushua saith to him, He that is washed needeth not save to wash his feet. So he that is washed, physically washed, okay, needeth not save to wash his feet. The only thing that you have to wash is your feet. Because, for example, if a person that's actually physically washed up, like say you just got out of a shower, just got out of a bath, only thing you have to wash is your feet. Because when you get out from that shower, when you get out from that bath, you're walking upon the floor. So when you get to your bed or to your couch or wherever, the only thing left to wash, to wipe off, is your feet, because the rest of your body is already cleansed. So he that is washed, meaning that is bathed, needeth not to save to wash his feet. The only thing you have to do is wash your feet. So he's trying to tell Peter, you're already cleansed. The only thing that needs to be washed is your feet. But not saying he's already cleansed physically. He's talking about being cleansed spiritually. So he said, he that is washed needed not save to wash his feet. The feet's the only thing you got to wash. But it's clean every whit, meaning you clean all over. You're clean in every way. You're already clean. And ye are clean, but not all. So let's break that down. Yahushua is telling them that you are clean. You're spiritually clean, all of you. So he's saying, I'm not washing your feet for the purpose of bathing you, because Peter said, well, wash my head and my hands, Lord, since you already washed my feet. He said, I'm not washing your feet because I'm for the purpose of you being physically cleansed. The purpose of you washing your feet is because you're already spiritually cleansed. You're already spiritually clean. And Yahushua washing their feet was a sign of humility. It was symbolic of humility, because Yahushua being over the disciples, humbling himself and washing their feet, represented him being humble. But see, the reason why you had to wash their feet was because the disciples, having been physically bathed, walked upon the floor. So the only thing that was needed to be washed was their feet. So by Yahushua washing their feet, it was symbolic of being humble. But just as they were physically clean, having recently been bathed, they were already spiritually clean as well as being physically clean. Yahushua was just washing their feet as a sign of humility. That's what it represented. That's what Peter didn't understand. And what made them spiritually clean was the word. Just as a person who just got out of a bath or shower was already clean, and the only thing they have to wash is their feet, you're already spiritually clean. You're clean all over. But not all of you, not all y'all physically clean. Because he was talking about Judas Iscariot. For he knew who should betray him, therefore he said, you're not all clean. So after he had washed their feet and taken his garments, he was set down again, and he said unto them, know ye not what I have done to you? Ye call me master and Lord, and you say, well, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, you ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that they should do as I have done unto you. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither is he that is sent greater than he that sent him. So what the Lord did was an act of humility, washing the disciples' feet, and that the disciples should also be humble one another. But in the spiritual aspect, the Lord physically washed the disciples' feet, being symbolic. Just as the person who gets out of a shower or bath is physically clean all over, the only thing left is to wash their feet. He's telling the disciples, y'all already clean all over. There's no need for me to wash your head and your hands. The only thing you got to wash is your feet, just as the person who got out of shower or bath has to wash their feet. So the Lord was being, it was symbolic. It was a metaphor. Your feet was being physically washed, as though you were already clean all over in the spirit. So the person who's already clean physically only have to wash their feet, because they're walking upon the floor when they get out of the bath. So Yahushua is being metaphorical. Okay? So they was already clean in the spirit. But what made them clean? John chapter 15, verse 3. Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. So the words will make you clean. Okay? And how else? And let's get to the last scripture. 1 Peter 1:21. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. 1 verse 18. For as much as ye know that ye were not redeemed with corruptible things, as silver and gold, from your vain conversation received by tradition from your fathers, but with the precious blood of Yahushua, as a lamb without blemish and without spot. So Yahushua was without blemish and without spot, because Yahushua had never sinned. He never had the blemish or the spot or stain of sin. He had never committed any sin. And we were not redeemed with corruptible things like silver and gold, but rather through the blood that was shed of our Father, of Yahushua, when he died on the cross. 1 Peter 1:20, he died for the children of Israel, beginning with the elect. Which the children of Israel are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, based upon your father's line. who verily was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you, who by him do believe in the Most High, that raised him up from the dead and gave him glory, that your faith and hope might be in the Most High. Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit. So your souls are purified in obeying the truth through the Spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren, unfeigned meaning sincere, unfeigned love of the brethren. See that ye love one another with a pure heart fervently. Being born again, not of corruptible seed, meaning not physically, but of incorruptible. Being born not in a physical manner, but in a spiritual manner. Because something that's corruptible is something that's liable to decay. Something that's incorruptible is something that's not liable to decay. It doesn't decay. And our spirits don't decay. So it's not being born again of a corruptible seed, meaning of a physical seed, physical sperm being put in a woman and coming out of that woman's womb, but of incorruptible, being born through the Spirit. Okay, but of incorruptible by the word of the Most High, which the Lord said in John 6 and 63, the word that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. So being born again, not a corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, by the word of the Most High, which believeth and which liveth and abideth forever. So it's about being born in the incorruptible manner as opposed to a corruptible manner. Look that up real quick. Look at the word being born again. What that say? Being born again.
Strong's G 313. Anaganao.
Anaganao, to produce again, be born again, born anew. Metaphor, to have one's mind changed so that he lives a new life and one conformed to the will of the Most High. See? Didn't we break that down with the Colossians? It tells you, lie not to one another, put off anger, wrath, and malice. See that? You're never corruptible. So that says corruptible.
Strong's G 5349. Thartas,
corruptible, perishing. Okay? And I'm going to go to this last definition, and I'm going to read the scripture one more time and close on that. Okay?
Strong's G 862. Aphthartas.
Uncorrupted, not liable to corruption or decay, imperishable, of things, immortal, of the risen dead. So it's about, going back to 1 Peter 1:21, 1:23, being born again, becoming new again, new conformed to the will of the Most High, not a corruptible seed, mean not of a physical birth as Nicodemus thought. That's why he said, can a man go into his mother's womb the second time? Can he be born when he's old? But of incorruptible, meaning not of physical birth, but of a spiritual birth, by the word of the Most High. So by the word of the Most High, we're born in an incorruptible manner. We're born again in the Spirit, which liveth and abideth forever. That's why I said it's imperishable or immortal, because our spirits are immortal. Our spirits don't die. So with that, I'm going to close. All brothers learn something. Shalom.